You are listening to Midwest Radio with myself, Gerard Browne. The last few years have been bleak for rural Ireland, with many businesses closing and thousands of people emigrating to work in other countries. However, it hasn't been all negative. Many non-nationals are working and firmly settled in rural Ireland. So does this show that rural Ireland still has plenty to offer? I started by talking to Danny Burke, a resident from the town of Castlereagh. I asked Danny what he has made of all the changes.
Well, I suppose it's like everything else. As you said, we have a bit to show, and even if it's two non-nationals. But we should never forget either that back in the 40s and in the 50s, when our fathers and mothers and uncles and aunts and everything had to leave this country, they had to go to a foreign country as well to get employment. So like we have to work,
even same now.
We have to be the same. You have to be prepared to accept those people, and some of them are quite good workers,
very good
and very honest and loyal. And I see them even. We had some of them in the school here going to school. You went to some of them yourself there, and fine people, to get on with and everything like that. But you'll always have that. Yeah, we mightn't have as much integration coming in now as we'd say as what we had going out. But it was difficult for people to travel to England in the years gone by, because sometimes over there, and I often heard my own uncle saying that they'll be looking for lodgings. That time they call it digs. They have a sign up in the houses. No Irish allowed,
Right.
Oh yeah. But like that has changed, and it's great that it has changed.
Yeah.
Like you have to accept people now. I was a postman for 43 years. I retired in 2004, and that's 11 years. It's 11 years now. Now, you just asked me about the people in about Castlereagh. There's quite a lot of new people has come into Castlereagh. A lot of them I even didn't know now.
Yeah.
And I knew every house and everyone that was living in them in the town of Castlereagh when I was doing the post. I wouldn't know half them, maybe 3/4 of them now. It's just changed.
Yeah, it's not changed.
Now they're not all foreign nations or anything like that.
But you have a lot of people coming from Dublin and
different
the east
places.
of the country. So
Exactly.
A lot of non-nationals work in supermarkets up and down the country. Ryan Supervalue in Benahonas is no different. I spoke to Stephen, whose dad owns the store. Stephen works there himself. I asked him, has the store always had a history of hiring non-nationals?
Since the recession has kicked in, even before that, there seems to have been a lot of non-nationals that have come to our country, especially the quieter towns like Ballyhonus and Ketchma and even Banlaw. You'd notice a lot more. I don't know, is that because more of our own Irish people are emigrating and then non-nationals are coming in? But there is quite a few non-nationals working in SuperValue at the moment. There's just because there's no Irish people around anymore, and the Irish people that are around, and most of them all of them are employed in some way, shape or form.
So these are the views of Irish people. But what about the non-nationals themselves? I spoke to Susan Castro. She's native of Portugal and works in Benny's Deli in Castlereagh. I asked her about her time in Ireland. So how long have you been living or working in Ireland for?
9 years altogether, 9 years.
So living and working in Ireland for 9 years?
No, I live 11 and I work for 8. Yeah.
And you've been working in Benny's Deli just there on the main street in the town, as I mentioned, for 9 years. How would you finding working in there?
It's good, different, but good. I don't know, it's very hard English and the job as well.
Yeah. And would you, for all the 11 years that you've lived in Ireland, would you have lived in Castlereagh for all those 11 years?
All the time, yeah.
So the Castlereagh all the time?
All the time, yeah.
I was saying now, so you would have kind of came here towards the end as kind of the Celtic Tiger when things were kind of good financially and kind of was seen things kind of going downhill. How would you kind of notice kind of maybe the differences around the town from maybe when you first arrived to a couple of years later when kind of things started to go downhill?
Yeah. Before it's more busy and everything, and now a little bit down, Yeah, people know too much money,
I would say, how have you found living in Castlereagh in general, kind of, say this part of Ireland, the west of Ireland, which you find it kind of is a good area to live in as such?
Yeah, I like to live in here. It's quiet, it's nice for kids and everything, yeah. I like to live in here now.
Would you like maybe kind of spend, if you were to live here for the rest of your life, would you like to kind of live here for the rest of your life?
Oh no.
No.
I want to back. I want back for good, just.
So you wouldn't kind of maybe see your kind of children grow up here or working here or anything?
The kids, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't think so, no. Because maybe another 3 years and I back. Another 3, that's...
Things kind of say, so maybe they were to come back here when they're older or something like that, would you think this would be a kind of a good area from kind of to live in, and there'd be plenty of kind of work around, say around Castlereagh and say around maybe Roscommon and the west of Ireland as a whole?
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah.
You're originally from Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah, I would say, do you think there's much differences between living in Portugal and would say living in Ireland as such?
Oh, yes. Too different, yeah, too much different. In here, more quiet, nice people, like, in my country, like, nobody, like, look for you and hello, never see you in life, like, no, in Portugal, people.
So you're right, like, if you were to walk down the streets in Portugal, you kind of might go unnoticed or not kind of speak to someone such, but if you were to walk down the street in Castlereagh, people would kind of acknowledge you and speak to you as such. Like.
Yeah.
So
I think in all Ireland like that.
And do you think
Nice,
it's kind of, that be just kind of a thing, or do you think there's a kind of a cultural difference as well, I would say, between Ireland and Portugal as such?
Oh yeah, in here more quiet, like how I said to you, quiet, like now have roads and, people nice. In Portugal it's little bit different.
But say maybe even in somewhere like in Portugal, kind of like, say, away from kind of the big urban areas, such, would it still be kind of as quiet and maybe as rural as is in this parts of Ireland, or is it still kind of more built up and still more busier and kind of and such? And maybe it would be a case where Portugal probably hasn't gone through much of a financial crisis as Ireland has in the last 5 or 10 years.
The money not really good. I have plenty work, but the money it's not good. And it's more busy than Ireland. Yes, a lot of big builders, too much things, but the money it's very poor, like. Very good.
Would there be many people that would be kind of living and working in Portugal that wouldn't be from Portugal, say from other countries as well?
Yes, you have, Brazilian, Ukraine, a lot of, but Portuguese people not too friend like in here,
welcome to Irish people. So you say like that the aim is to go back to Portugal eventually in a couple of years time. What is it that, I know of course the strong thing is because it's home and it's where you're from, and just no matter where you come from you always have that strong connection to home and your family, but what would be kind of, would that be kind of the main factor that wants to bring you back to Portugal, or is there something else maybe you just kind of miss about Portugal? Maybe probably the weather, I suppose, probably would be another factor as well, like, but what would be kind of main factors that would want to bring you back to Portugal?
When I go for good, I don't go to Portugal, I go to Brazil. That's the country where is my husband. No, I don't want to back to the Portugal anymore. No. Like, I want really go for good for Brazil, because I like more Brazil than my country. It's hard to say. I just miss my family, but I don't see nothing in Portugal. I can back again. Like.
Would you think that despite all the problems with the recession and the money and immigration, that like Castlereagh still is like a good area to live in and to work in, and it has kind of good employment, and it is a nice area as such to live in and such?
The Castlereagh and Roscommon, it's too small, like no have too much job, like.
Yeah.
Like I still in Venice for 9 years, but because I'm not too bad for work, because if no good, like he need to tell me no job for me, and I don't know, I think it's very hard to find job like in other places, like. About the recession, I think, this is down a little bit because people no money, like. But I think it's not too bad. For me, I know look like big recession like you see in television, like, I think in my country more hurts than here.
Say your children would have grown up here in Castlereagh as well, right? Say how would they find kind of settling in and living in here? Because obviously they'd be just used to it, but do they get the vibe that they kind of enjoy living in Castlereagh?
Yeah, he loves to live in here. He have himself friends, he likes,
And say your is it husband or partner?
My husband.
Husband, and he's originally from Brazil, and would he be long living in Ireland?
Same like me.
Same. And how does he find the differences, say, between Ireland and Portugal? And does he like living here? And
now he like to live in here, but when me and him moved to here, a little bit hard because it's quiet. The language is hard as well, and no have clue the English. But now, now he's like, after, while he liked. But before when back in here, no, it's too quiet and very hard to find job because no English, and he never works like in builders, and that's the job what have for foreigners, like, the work with labels, and very hard for him.
And those were the views from Susan Castro. Before that was Stephen Ryan and Danny Burke. I'd like to thank these people for taking part in this feature.